Всем привет!
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to see you on this great event, and I'm suddenly the second to present. My topic is definitely a bit boring, so don't be cross with me for that. And despite being boring, it actually worries me much, and I hope it's not only me. To spoil this all and give you a summary, I would like to say that AI and AI technologies and technologies of big data technologies in general, they really give us a lot of possibilities, but also create a significant threat. And if they are not sanely and wisely processed by the society, it might delay the development of technologies very significantly. So how do we work with that in our digital school? If you follow the humanitarian aspects of IT, like, for example, legal regulations or some other things, you know that during the last 4 to 5 months, we saw a number of events regulating the application of AI. For example, I was clearly surprised by the prohibition to predict the court decisions in France, or full ban on trying to classify different government bodies in any sense or way. And also we have the legislation projects in EU that will most probably affect the whole EU. It's medical data mining ban in Japan, some restrictions and limitations in Korea, Israel, Vietnam, and others. So it's useful to know a number of language, and then I would definitely find more of those. So why do those things happen? I think there is, and probably you know about it, just say a couple of words, there's a huge progress that we see starting 2009, when I was creating my PhD work and tried to apply the AI. We can do wonderful things. We can learn things about people that they don't know themselves. And of course, we are faced with the issue of trying to understand the ethical applications and implications of this new technology. What are the areas that where we can use AI in terms of ethics? And even as we are a non-commercial company, despite having some commercial branches and projects, we are politically affected as we are part of the university. We work with the students, and our main participants of our projects are the students. We work with big partners that are really worried about how they are positioned on the market, and politics is important for us. So we've split all the projects in the applied AI in 3 areas: red, green, and yellow. So the green ones are definitely the ones that definitely are taken by the society positively, and despite the results, the participants are viewed as heroes, like predicting COVID-19 and in some closed ecosystems like university campus, and we are trying to help our colleagues, and I hope we do help our colleagues to better perform their job of fighting COVID on our campus. And here we are very thankful to Sberbank for actually inviting us to do those projects. It is the work we do to prevent catastrophes, like with the dams, when you use AI to predict the destruction process in concrete and metal constructions. The yellow zone has a lot of projects, and mostly those are ads connected. And as you know, ads can be quite delicate and useful, but at the same time can be harmful and unpleasant. And the red zone is breaking the law and stuff like this that are unethical or taken as unethical by people. Like we were offered to predict, to calculate, analyzing which text is being typed on the phone by analyzing the accelerometer data. So we never take part in anything outside of the green zone. Even if it's ads, we know some partners, we know the people, we know the organization, we understand their intent, but still we don't go into even the yellow zone. And I will talk to you about the reasons why. And we are actually getting closer and closer to reconstructing the mind, reconstructing the thoughts. You remember Sherlock Holmes predicting what Dr. Watson is thinking by just watching his gaze. And in the end, the limit where we go is definitely in the red zone. So accordingly, we faced with a phenomenon that probably you saw when, even if you don't talk about any complex and really interesting technologies, most of the time you've noticed that ordinary people, they are introduced to the achievements of the modern informatics. They look at you as a wizard that from middle ages that needs to be burned. And like when I showed how you can use math for corporate audit and find fraud, people that steal electricity, for example. And talking about AI, we had incidents with our partners or ourselves when we found the explanations to the data that has created a lot of painful reactions. For example, you can find people who are disabled in terms of vision when we are trying to measure his vision and understand that he's like half blind. Or you can predict divorces. And you can be quite effective if you read the literature. You can, for example, predict that the person wants to break up with the employer, but doesn't want to inform the employer about this. So when the person sees something like this, he usually would like to attack the threat rather than accept it and understand. So why those reactions appear? Besides the subjective things that we all have and subjective traits, we have predilections about AI. We have nihilism about the data, about the data that they share about themselves. And despite the whole world having a consensus that there's private data that needs to be protected, the list of that types of data is quite long. So predicting pregnancy, I think it was when I was talking to my Indian colleagues in 2011 when people started predicting pregnancy by just what the woman buys. This data, like shopping data, is not considered to be secret. Thus, in fact, what is the real reason? The person, or en masse, the people, don't understand that a lot of small facts can lead to real deep conclusions, and those conclusions can be his or her property. They can be the target for malicious actors, and they can lead to things that the person doesn't even know about him or herself. So what are the solutions for ourselves and for other developers that work on AI products? As part of our research activity, we're doing a lot of that work, and the idea is definitely not to work in the red zone. Even if it's formally legal, it harms the whole area, it harms the whole AI perspective, because it creates the associations between the AI and some malware, and it can be like with blockchain, when the masses think that blockchain is now black market or gray market, buying drugs, and so of course the blockchain in general is much broader than the black market, but the harm that was created by these associations is super big, and there's a lot of investments needed to bring back the customers and normal people to that area. Another thing that I've made the title of my work is "Don't be afraid of the name," is digital literacy. I had doubts about it, but now I think that digital literacy is mandatory for everyone, like with carders who bombard everyone with messages trying to steal your card data, and it's very important for everyone. And knowing about AI, machine learning, at least on a level of basic understanding is mandatory. So for the governments, this is an open question, but my position nowadays is that we need to prohibit data mining about unprotected groups of people, like kids or psychologically disabled people, and we need to run the mining to limit the mining for ads market, and of course we need to structurize and standardize the organizations that can do those things. Because I would even maybe introduce the big data partner title for the organizations that are trusted with processing your data. Like you trust the bank with your card data, but you don't show it to everyone, right? Same about this situation. We have that situation constantly, and often when we run our pilot projects, or when we work with the media, with our colleagues, both outside and inside the university, we constantly face the issue of ordinary people not understanding fundamental things that we need to explain to them to just start the conversation. Like when you now go to the pharmacy and pay for the drugs, this data can lead to a lot of information about your health, even those that you don't you cannot derive yourself. So you need to trust the people you work with. Like, do you trust your bank? Probably you do. Do you trust the pharmacy you go to? Probably not. And maybe it's a topic for a broader discussion, but at least we need to think about it. And I think it needs to be included. I don't understand the systematic way to organize this. We work with grown-ups, we work with schoolboys as part of the university work, and I think we will publish something about this. I don't want to predict July to August next year. And about the level of stress and fear reducing and the complexity of technologies leading to people starting to think, what am I saving? Who am I working with? Like the platforms that, don't even encrypt the passwords of the users, or that have leaked the data, or things when you can predict that the person is HIV positive, and we had those cases. So we hope that with time the level of protection and reliability of the information vendors and big data analysis and deep mining would be a competitive advantage of the company if they can work safely and securely in that area. And last but not least, I don't want to be spending too much time, and the value is definitely a good criteria. If the person can safely and securely process big data, then this opens a lot of possibilities to the users to just improve the quality of life, because you can smoothen a lot of things. Like the stuff we work on is early warnings about the emotional state that is not conducive to well-being, and like you would like to make a payment that is not good for you because you are not actually sane. So your IT digital partner can tell you, like, are you sure you really want to do this? And this can enable a lot of savings, and this is a different type of relationships between the organization and the client. So with that, I tried to dive deeper into the topic, and of course I would like to invite you to further that discussion and make it constructive, to analyze what we do with our school. And thanks to Sberbank for gathering us all together, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Ilya, thank you so much. You generally described how the AI tools can be used, for example, to generate fake messages on social networks. Also, the AI can be used to fight those kind of fake messages. It looks like this is the fight between the bullet and the shield. Will this struggle be an eternal fight, or AI eventually will help us to get a winner? No, it's the eternal struggle. Eternal. Absolutely. And the fight is eternal and will never be able to go sound asleep, right? No, I mean, if you warned, you're armed, obviously. And there's no winner in this war. Roughly speaking, nobody can win but you. You have to fight it. And that's why we need to increase the level of digital literacy, yes, computer literacy. Yes, and the attitude is also important, because people working in the industry, they also sometimes don't show the appropriate level of attention and care. Ilya, thank you so much.